Welcome to the SaaS Pulse Show. My name is Michael Bertoni, and I'm the founder and CEO of SaaS Talent. And super excited today, I have an amazing founder from Vancouver, right? Canada, North America, right? So we're in Vancouver is an amazing SaaS city. It is Jove Zhong. He's the co-founder and head of product at Timeplus. Timeplus is an intuitive, very, very intuitive, fast and powerful real-time analytics engine and platform. He was also, so he's a great guy to know. I mean, so he was director of engineering for many years at Splunk, which people I'm sure have heard of. And he was there and he's like, I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to build Timeplus. So it is awesome to have you on the show, Jove. Great to meet you.
Thank you, Michael. I mean, you give me a very good introductions. I don't have anything else to say, I guess.
Yeah, let's get into it here. So what I always love to start with, Jove, is the superhero backstory, right? So your journey. So I know you're at Splunk. I mean, you're at Splunk almost 8 years, and you're probably like, what am I doing here? I'm going to build my own thing. But in terms of, tell us about your backstory. So what was your backstory that got you to Timeplus, and how did you put that together?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, again, the hero is a very strong keyword even in Splunk, right? So we also say, hey, IT hero or search hero, a beer hero, and solve the problem. So
Nice.
yeah, I mean, Splunk is a really great company. I really like the culture, the product, all the people, the technology. As you mentioned, that is being there for 7, 8 years. You might too familiar with the process, the product. You somehow know most of the answer. You may not know all, but you know a lot of answer. You know a lot of people. You helping people, but you may not grow as fast as the first few years. All right, so that's exactly what for me. Even I relocate in different cities and work on different products. But for a while, I think yeah, I grow my team. I build my manager. I release my products. I make the customer happy. But I'm not really gain a lot of new skills or knowledge in terms of technology side. I do manage bigger team, but I still more like a product person or engineer at whole. So I really want to see whether we can do something better. And my last 2 years in Splunk is really working on the data streaming space, which is not a typical business for Splunk in terms of IT monitoring or security. So the motivation is very simple. That is, people want to see whether you are being attacked or whether the IT data center is outage or any kind of resource issues, and you want to get that kind of alert within 1 or 2 minutes. But even people deploy a big cluster of Splunk, put a lot of money, but it's still difficult because all the data, I mean, this big data theory that is you have to collect data and you send to a store or kind of an index and query it over and over again. So this may not work if you want to get a low latency stuff like a few seconds or even sub-second, because the data, this pipeline is so long. So the last 2 years in Splunk, we have this project called Data Streaming Processor, leveraging modern technology such as Kubernetes, Flink, Kafka, all those things. And it's a big team, and I learned a lot. I really enjoyed that journey, but we feel like maybe it's not the only way. Maybe we can do this in much more lightweight, more intuitive way, more cost-effective way. So I guess that's the room for build a startup company or new project for that. So that's basically how we started at Timeplus.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about just the product, elevator pitch, quick elevator pitch on the product, data streaming. I get that, right? But give me the elevator pitch and the value proposition.
Yeah, of course. So this week it is the Snowflake summit in SF, right? So we are more building like a real-time version of Snowflake, or be more accurate, is a streaming version of Snowflake. So the data keep coming from the IoT sensors, from the trading of the stock market on the Web3 or anything else, right? So from the logs. Then what we provide is a very easy way for data engineer to make sense of the data about what is happening right now, what is coming using certain kind of prediction, and also what is pattern in the past. Like, for example, someone logging from a new IP address, you can figure out, hey, what's the city about that IP address, whether that person logging from that city in the past 2-3 months. So we are in a very unique position that is, it's a very easy to use product, but it's very also powerful. And give you the real-time insight and give you the chance to take the action at the right time. And all those stuff is available as SaaS, but also some customer prefer deploy on-prem for some security reasons, or even some people is aiming for super low latency as low as like single-digit millisecond. Then going to the cloud, going back might be not ideal. Then they just deploy on-prem even closer to their data center, their router of their IoT sensors. So this is a very, we think that is big data is great, but maybe it's not the best time. And now people are looking for smarter data, live data, and we can be part of it.
Yeah, there's still a lot of companies out there that have data centers, all right? And you know, you got to, in some instances, it's not all cloud, right? I mean, so if you have highly sensitive data or healthcare data or financial data or all sorts of data like that, like you cannot, you know, you can't put in the cloud. You need to have a data center. But tell everybody a little bit. Maybe I named the customers because that was my next question was, in terms of your ICP, whenever you're a startup out there listening to this, you always got to focus on your ideal client profile, and then you got to sell to them, right? So tell the audience a little bit about your ICP. Who is that? Who are you selling to?
Sure. Yeah, ICP also come up along in many of our meetings and documents. So the ideal case that is if you as the data engineer already know what is Apache Kafka, already consolidate your data, no matter from your CRM, from HR, from all the logs to system like Apache Kafka or Confluent Cloud, then it's really great for us to a chance to help you to make sense of data in Kafka with SQL without hiring a bunch of expensive engineer building custom code. You can just literally using our tool to make sense of data in Kafka using SQL and build alert, build a dashboard. So, and also build this we call ETL pipelines, moving data from A to B using this extract, transform, load mechanism. So, so this is really, we hope that is more and more people will using technology like Kafka, and we don't solve that problem because this is almost like solve the problem or a problem for Confluent to solve. But once more and more people consolidate their data in Kafka, then we are the best SQL engine for Kafka. So Kafka is very complex technology. You have a lot of programming SDKs, but if you want to see what is coming in the Kafka and make sense of it, come out with some patterns or actions using Timeplus SQL will be the most easy way, and you can only, people already know SQL very well. So that's kind of ICP, that is people who, as a data engineer, already have data in their Kafka. They are looking for a cheaper, easier, more powerful way to using SQL to process data in Kafka. Then Timeplus is the best option. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So really, really focused in Kafka. So anybody out there, you know, working with Kafka and knowing anybody working in Kafka, you know, definitely reach out to Jove. You've been in business almost 3 years, right? So tell the audience a little bit about your challenges. Like, so what have been some of the major challenges, 2 or 3 challenges that you've dealt with over the last few years, and how did you overcome them?
Actually, this is my like 21, 23 years of working. I work for big company. I don't really change jobs so often. I spent 4.5 years in IBM, 4.5 years in EMC, and 7 years in Splunk. Now it is my own company. So I'm not saying I'm very good at engineer, but I know all the engineering process. So even building a new product is not easy, but I would say the biggest challenge is not really on the engineering side. For sure, we need to be disruptive. We come up with very solid stuff. But I guess the #1 challenge is how can we get the customer feedback, the user feedback. You need the user and the feedback, right? And when I was in big company like IBM, EMC, or Splunk, I can easily come up with products. I can recruit beta users. I can present in a big conference. There's a line of customers sign up for this beta program, and we can have a good conversation on that. Now I'm the co-founder of this new company, build a new stuff. And it is not easy to invite people and get their feedback, or even like secure the budget and let them to be our customers. That part, I guess, is more difficult than a bigger company because they have the reputation, the product or the company already in their vendor list. They already have some experience or knowledge. It's easier for them to expand, to buy more license, to buy more SKU. But for a brand new company, especially in this new trend, it's relatively more difficult. And how we do it, that is, we start from more like a SaaS only approach, and also don't really open source our engine or our code. That's somehow mainly inspired by or influenced by Splunk, right? It's also not open source, but it's also very helpful. People willing to allocate a lot of budget on that. So we tried that first, but after 1.5 years or almost 2 years, we realized that is, if you are in this data infrastructure space, and the developer or data engineers are very used to run this on their own laptop, on their data center, going to the cloud is one option, but may not be the only option. Even can be a no-go for certain customers who are very sensitive to their data, or their Kafka cluster is not cloud version. They have their own Kafka on-prem. So we realize that is we have to come up with something people can deploy on-prem, and there's no better way to open source it, because open source is really a good way to earn the trust and build a community. So it is not very common for every company. Some companies start from open source, then to go SaaS, but we are the opposite. We start from the SaaS version, and after 1 year of SaaS, we have some customers there, but we open source our core engine, and that's really is our next step. And we have a much better engagement with developers or our ICP. Yeah.
It's interesting. So you keep mentioning engineers, right? Data engineers, usually in an enterprise, and you're selling to the enterprise, right? So there's usually heads of data engineering, I would think. But how are you getting them to care? Because I mean, the data engineer might be like, oh yeah, there's a better way, but they don't have budget, right? So who are you selling to, and how do you get them to care?
Yeah, I'm sure, Michael, your audience know this space very well. That is, there's always a difference between the user, the buyer, right? So our user definitely is data engineer, but data engineer may not have the budget, right? Or they are maybe too junior. They don't have any decision power. Even using open source stuff, they might just follow whatever the team decide or architect decide. So we do have to work on different persona. For example, we have to build a very good documentation, a lot of demos, tutorials, to win the trust of the hands-on engineers, no matter how senior they are. But also we have to do a little bit marketing or kind of a target persona for those senior manager, director, or VP engineering. So they have a good sense of the trend. They understand their data problem. They have some budget, and those people can join some of the conference such as Kafka Summit or Confluent Current or stuff like that, or they just keep browsing on the internet such as Twitter or LinkedIn. That's the reason why we keep, for example, we have this bi-weekly product updates, sharing, say, this is the new features, this is a new tutorial, or this is the conference talk we just presented, and we join as many meetup or conference as possible. We have the blog, no matter the blog coming from ourselves or from our users or customers or partners. So we really have to make a very solid product and demonstrate how powerful it is. In the same time, regarding the VP engineering or director, they whatever channel they usually browse, like YouTube or Medium or Reddit, we try to influence them. This part is also a little bit different than when I was in a big company. When I was in company like Splunk, I'm kind of person I always reject who added me on LinkedIn, because come on, I already have a big team. I'm not looking for a job. I don't feel I needed to expand my network. But now I even sometimes invite people I admire on LinkedIn, and also I publish something. Sometimes it's not that directly relevant to this Timeplus product, open source, but it's sharing my startup company lesson learns or making comments for this stuff. So you needed to build a little bit personal influence or credibility, and the people know, yeah, Jove might know something about data streaming. And if he's working on that product may not be too bad. Let me take a look, stuff like that. So there's a multiple angles, you know.
No, totally. I mean, so let's just solidify for everybody listening the differentiation, right? So you're competing against some big players, right? So there's big players in this industry. So in your own words, what's the differentiation of Timeplus, right? So what are the 2 or 3 things that you're like, we're just better at this, and this? So explain that to the audience.
Yeah. So we made it very clear. It is simple, powerful, cost efficient. So by simple, we mean that it is as simple as a single binary. Right. So if you are a data engineer, you might know how to use Kubernetes, how to use Flink. There's a bunch of JVM, all those cluster stuff to get things done. Like I want to move data A to B. In our case, you just download that single binary, put on your certain path. It doesn't matter. Start the process and write a SQL, say I want to move data from A to B. That's it.
Simple.
So it's super simple. That's no simpler way, right? So and it works in the cloud, it works in your on-prem, it even works on your IoT sensor or devices, right? So it's super simple. We really want to make sure people can get started easily and they have you don't have to spend time to maintain it. So simple. And also regarding the user experience, everything need to be very simple. And the powerful that is, we really build the RockSense state-of-art streaming SQL engine. And it is even much more powerful than some of the solutions such as KSQLDB, which is already there for 4 or 5 years. So we really push the hard that is you can do very amazing stuff, very powerful stuff in our product. And the cost efficient because we are in this open core model. So if you only care about the core features, you can use this for free, right? You can even host by yourself or fork it. But if you want to try our SaaS version, if you want to try our enterprise version, it is still very cost efficient, mainly because we are building all the stuff by ourselves. We are not really depends on many other components, just no Java. So you only needed to spin off a very kind of a common or small servers. You don't need to be having a bunch of like monster level big cluster to run our software. So save a lot of cost on the infra. There's a less CPU, there's less memory to be used. And also the people side, right? So if you hire someone good at, say, Apache Flink in US or anywhere in the world, it's not easy, it's very expensive. How to retain them, how to motivate them. But in your case, you just run SQL, right? I guess average people coming from school, computer science, whatever, they know SQL, or even they don't know, they can learn this in 1 or 2 weeks. So this will really give you a better way to maintain your infrastructure cost low, maintain your people cost low, and all the maintenance effort is very low. Yeah, so that's how we differentiate it from the bigger players in the market.
Yeah, I love it, Jove. I mean, simple. He explained simple. He explained powerful, and he explained cost-effective real-time analytics, right? So it's awesome stuff. So let's get into how you're dealing with people and talent, right? So what are your challenges? What are the things you really care about when it comes to people, talent acquisition? What are you doing in those areas?
We are very lucky that this is a great and a very ambitious goal to build such a new, more like next-gen data streaming product. And we get a lot of support from our friends and colleagues. So when we started the business and we do approach to as many people, even they will say a lot of no to us, but we still approach that, hey, we have this idea and we even have this almost working POC. Do you want to join us? Start a journey together.
Nice.
Yeah, and we are not going to pay you as many as you do right now in whatever company, but yeah, we are very confident this is really a big trend of the industry, and we are one of the best person to work on that problem. Yeah, so we most of the people in our company actually is our colleagues in the previous companies. So
Nice.
that really solved the problem. That is, we don't really needed to train, that we don't really needed to like build a trust because the trust are already there. And they are already a very experienced person. So there's no really like junior person. Everyone is like 5 years or even 15, 20 years working experience.
Nice.
And also we build this culture that is, you are part of this company, right? You are founding engineers, you are founding designers. You are not really like follow the OKR or whatever, follow the order to do the stuff. You own the problem and you need to figure out what's the best way to solve that problem. Is that going to be solve by yourself? Are you going to consult your friend? Are you going to buy a software? Are you to build write some code for that? So everyone needed to figure out what's the key problem to solve and work on that. So we really will build this kind of founder culture. And yeah, we keep the team small, right? Sounds easy. You can always solve the problem by hiring more people, but no matter how many people you hire, you always feel not necessary. Even when I was in Scrum, I managed a big team, about 50 engineers. We are still talking about we need more people, right?
Right.
Hiring people don't really solve the problem. I mean, you need to work on the right problem first, then have the right way to work on a project. And also sometimes you have to say no to some of the stuff, right? So you never have enough people. But if you have the right people, you have the mind right set, you can still solve the problem.
Yeah, Jove, I got to tell you, I could already tell that the people probably working for you probably love working for you. I could just tell. I mean, you seem like a fun guy to be around, right? So so really impressed. Last question. So this is going by super good. The advice, just so people listening to this, a lot of the audience listening to this, they're startups, they're thinking about starting a startup. What's your advice? So what's the main 2 or 3 pieces of advice you would give them? People that want to start a company, people that just started a company. What are some things you'd like to give them?
Yeah, so I would say making sure you understand what is really coming if you're going to start your own business, right? So having stuff like co-founder or founder title is sexy. I have to admit that, but it also means a lot. I would suggest you are not really interested in being a founder or like building startup company is your hobby. I mean, it may not work. It may work at the very beginning, but it will not work a long way because you are facing a lot of challenges.
Yeah.
So making sure you are very excited for the idea, you are very motivated to solve that problem, because on the journey, you are not going to be happy all the time. You will be very frustrated. You sometimes feel like I need more help. I'm isolated. I'm not the right guy. I don't have the right knowledge. So making sure you are not aiming for like happiness or enjoy or like influence, whatever. So you really need to be motivated to solve that problem. That's number one. Get this mentally prepared.
I love it.
Yeah, and also building the product itself is not easy for sure, but how to sell it is much harder. And if you're coming from an engineering background like me, it's totally different world, right? So even you work on stuff like open source, if you present on the conference, you might get 100 people listen to your talk, but maybe no one will try your product. That is normal, right? So making sure you build the product, but also making sure you spend time to talk to your potential ICP or users, understanding their pain points, and keep mentioning how your product can be different and make their life easier, make them feel better, right? Maybe they can be promoted, maybe they can be rewarded. So thinking from the user perspective and keep selling it. Everyone should be selling it. Founder should sell it. Founder engineer should sell it. Yeah, I guess there's a lot of stuff I can share, but I will say, I'm not saying we are successful enough, right? We really need to, we are still in the journey. But I hope that is don't be a hobbyist of startup company, and B, that is making sure you have enough time building the product, but also spend more time on selling it.
Hey, Jove, you probably already know this, but Steve Jobs' main advice is what you just said. You have to be passionate and love what you do, because it's hard. Typically the journey for a SaaS company is like 7 to 10 years, at least, like 10+ years. So you have to love it. So Jove, it's been awesome having you on the show. Really, really awesome. And I'm looking forward to following your journey. But again, it was awesome having you on the show. And everybody, again, Jove Zhong, right? I said that right? So
perfect.
Jove Zhong. Check out Timeplus. I could already tell he's on to something. I mean, there's something good happening here, right? So check it out. If you're Kafka, if you know anybody with Kafka, data streaming, get after it. So it was awesome having you on the show.
Thanks so much. Add me on LinkedIn, on Twitter, check our website or GitHub repo. So happy to discuss more. Thank you, Michael.
Great. Take care.